Welcome, season 3, episode 1, White Devils Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Villain, and of course, if I'm here, I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, Radical Rich.
Yo, liberal stepper, radical Rich Herman in the building. What's up, peeps?
Let me switch these things around, and since we're back for season 3, episode 1, after 2 week hiatus, let's welcome fucking Eddie back, who's been MIA like he was 8 years ago when he disappeared to Sweden.
He finally got bonded out for leading
Some
the riots on January 6th.
Oh shit,
One to
He made bail. He's home now.
2020.
he made bail.
Did you guys see, somebody got arrested and they were wearing a shirt that said 1/6/2021. I was there, and they put it in the charging documents.
Fucking idiots.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Thank you for everybody tuning in. We've been gone for 2 weeks after the end of season 2. Rich went on vacation to he was in Orlando, and I didn't go nowhere, but I might go somewhere today or later tonight, maybe tomorrow. As we're doing this show, I'm going through and looking at flights to Miami.
That's how we do show prep.
I want to go to Key West, away from everybody. That'd be cool. But how have you been? Season 2 was shitty for you.
Season 2 was rough on all of us. Yeah. You know what? I mean,
Season 2 was eventful,
I'm good.
very eventful.
My vacation took a load off. I'm rejuvenated, refocused, and we got plenty of shit to talk about. I'm excited to be back.
If you guys that normally watch, you guys probably seen that we're fancy now. We got a whole new intro,
Fancy. Huh?
nice graphics. I would like to say that I had that in the stash waiting for season 3 to start, but I literally just did it this morning. But
Do those got weed in them?
no,
Because they look delicious.
no, they're just regular. They're just regular watermelon, sour watermelon.
I might be snacking throughout the show, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I grabbed them. I got the munchies.
any candies you see around the studio, you have to ask if there's weed in them.
So Eddie, how's this old house Chicago edition been for you?
This whole Chicago edition. It's treating me well. We haven't been on in a couple weeks, so I'll tell you that the house is a struggle, but finding out that Matt Gates is a sexual deviant and under federal investigation has definitely made my life a lot easier. I feel great.
Let me ask.
I feel great. Did you guys hear about this? Matt Gates is a sexual deviant.
Yeah,
I think we knew that.
Rob.
Really low. That's weird. Everything should be fine. Everything's up to the level it's supposed to be.
I move around a lot when I
Yeah.
talk, so I'd be like doing this shit all the
Thanks,
time. My bad.
thanks, Jason. Though,
Yeah, thank
shout out to
you.
Jason. And let us know so we're better. We should be better. I bumped it up a little bit. Yeah. So we've been gone for a couple weeks. Season 2 was marred by Eddie buying a house and renovating it. Rich and I both had a couple of health issues that we are working through. Now we're back. I don't know if we're better than ever, but we're back.
I think we'll be better than we were last season.
Yeah.
Best ever. I don't know. We'll see. But Ed, you didn't suspect Matt Gates was a sexual deviant before this? I mean, to me, he just looks and screams pervert.
Yeah, he looks like he likes to carpool with his daughter's friends.
Well, they call it his nickname is Jimmy Neutron
Oh
because
shit.
that's what he looks like.
Huh.
No, I had him as a supreme sicko, but being a sexually deviant, having sex with like 17-year-olds and having sex with 17-year-olds, having sex with the same 17-year-old as your friend who's also having sex with her, and then sending her Venmo payments, like that's just
Yeah. That's no go.
that's different levels of sicko.
That's he leveled up. It's oh ew. I don't.
Well, the big deal too is that he flew her across state lines. 'Cause actually, 17 I think is legal in Florida. be honest,
Yeah.
15 is probably legal in Florida. Sorry if you live in Florida.
Yeah,
You're
50,
listening to
I
this
believe
right now,
16 is the age of consent. Weirdly.
But federally, it's 18. So once he crossed state lines,
Yep.
and then the trafficking, I don't know. It's all tied up with this dude. What is dude's name? Joel Steinberg.
The feds are going to take him down. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Joel
you can't be committing crimes across state lines, sending money around on Venmo.
Right.
That's just like trafficking 101.
Well, now this Joel Greenberg,
The feds love
who's
that
a
stuff.
buddy with
And
Matt Gates.
his friend got hit with 33 charges. I mean, there's no way you got to flip when somebody hits you with 30 plus charges.
Yeah, and then they announced that he's going to plead guilty.
Yeah.
He's helping somebody with something, and it's probably Matt Gates. It's a good chance it's Matt Gates.
Maybe Matt Gates is who killed Epstein.
So he's in some trouble.
All right, the White Devils podcast. That's not what we intended to start out with, but it's kind of what happened. What did we start off with?
COVID.
Oh, COVID. Oh, yeah. COVID. Get vaccinated. Indiana, where we do the show from, is they're vaccinating everybody. The past 2 days, they've had a vaccine site at Gary Roosevelt High School, where as long as you had ID, you get vaccinated, whether you're from Illinois, Michigan, fucking Timbuktu. Come on and get stuck. So, but I go Saturday. I know Rich has been vaccinated. He got the Johnson & Johnson a couple weeks ago. I know Eddie. Did you get both yours?
Pfizer.
You got both of them? How did you feel okay after both of them, or did you get a little?
The first one I had a headache.
Okay.
Same day, took a nap, woke up the next day. Second one, no problems. I feel great. Feels good to be able to see people. You know, like I have a friend who has regular doses now. I picked up some documents from her. I was able to actually like give her a hug, which was nice, even though like we were both still wearing face masks and stuff. Like I realized like, man, hugging people is really nice. And it's one of the things I miss most about the last year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go for my second dose of the Pfizer on Saturday.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Indiana ended their mask mandate this past Tuesday. It's basically still game on, as each establishment's up. You know, it's up to them whether they want to still enforce it. Burlington, I went to Burlington. I was cologne hunting. No mask signs anywhere anymore. They took them all down, but everybody's still in there in masks. Of course, Walmart still got their sign up. Most gas stations around here still do.
Yeah, a lot of corporate places are going to keep them, I think.
Yeah, the biggest thing around here with it ending is the governor gave it discretion to local jurisdictions on how they open up to capacity levels. So everything's basically full-fledged open now, but most people are still wearing masks.
Illinois is open-ish, but not all the way.
Illinois.
They're just starting to allow people back indoors.
Illinois depends on where you are. Like the bigger cities like Chicago are much more closed than the suburbs.
That's why there's only 7 people in each row at White Sox games.
Yeah.
I'm trying to buy tickets. I was trying to get tickets last week, and I was like, good luck.
Because it cost a nice penny.
Yeah.
It definitely. Like,
stop all those tickets. But
for the home opener.
It's strange to me because I felt like I always felt that I had the expectation this whole last year that like there would be a point where we could say, hey, we've vaccinated, 280 million people, and we're officially done with like the mask mandate. We can go back to outside now. And it seems like it's going to be more of a gradual sort of easing out that is
did anybody
it's like from the bottom up versus like top down, which is kind of a very strange way to end a national health emergency. But it's kind of not surprising to given the sense that like that's kind of how Trump left it. He just said like the states are on their own. So it's kind of not surprising, but for me it's weird to hear like, oh, Arizona's just dropped their mask mandate. Like COVID's over for Arizona apparently,
Yeah,
and
Mississippi
Texas.
too.
Yeah,
But it seems like it's going to be more of like people are going to take their masks off when they feel like it's time for them to take their masks off, and
yeah.
not when the government tells
We've
them.
been wearing it for a year now, for the most part. So most of us are, used to wearing it. It's become second nature.
What kills me is
I got them just to go with my outfits and shit.
people now are like, well, why is the flu down? Look at this. What happened to the flu and all this other shit? It's like, because you've been wearing masks, you fucking dummy.
Oh, they didn't turn the flu machine on this year. Oh, because fucking everybody's been wearing masks, idiot.
And you know what is
Yeah,
what,
it still shows you just how infectious COVID is. If we practically eradicated the flu and COVID is still killed, 100,000 people in the last few months.
yeah, and of course it's the same people that didn't want to wear the mask, probably still don't want to wear the mask. They don't want to take the vaccine. Well, that's the quickest way to get the mask off. If everybody fucking takes the vaccine. So they're boxing themselves into this corner of being fucks. What's really struck me though recently is the few people that I know that are refusing the vaccine are healthcare professionals. Not so much doctors, but like I know a paramedic and a couple nurses, and I'm trying to figure out where they would, you know what I'm saying, where that would come from. I got a few theories. I know, like, my brother's the paramedic, and, he talks to these ER doctors. He's like, oh, people are getting the vaccine, they're coming in sick. And it's like, but, man, that's all they're seeing. Like, nobody's coming in like, man, I feel great. You wouldn't be at the fucking ER if you felt great. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's getting a skewed perspective. And to an extent, it's still information.
There's well over 100 million people vaccinated.
What is the percentage? Does anyone catch?
It's very low.
I think it's 25%. Probably we're approaching now of the country is fully vaccinated. Yeah, we still got a ways to go.
Yeah,
it's very step at a time. I know the Biden administration is pushing it as fast as they can. They keep moving the date up for everybody to get vaccinated. But, sooner or later, we're going to run head on into this group of people that
I don't
want the vaccine. And
I never been so happy to be old. Like, as soon as I got to Texas, it was like Indiana's vaccinating people 40 and over. I went in line and got my motherfucking appointment. Like, okay.
Yeah, my dialysis
I'm 40.
clinic had it. So it was real easy for me. It was dope. Everybody in my house is vaccinated. Nobody fucking grew a third limb. Nobody became a fucking zombie. So, I mean, I can vouch. And I took the Johnson & Johnson. I know they're having problems in some states right now, but I just took the shit like it'll be 2 weeks ago Tuesday. And I'm not dead. I'm not sick.
My sister has a friend of hers who is, he got his in like January because he works in nursing home, older healthcare setting. And they told him, hey, the vaccine's available for you. But if you refuse, you're on your own. We're not going to give you the option to come back and get it in 2 weeks. Make your choice now. It's your choice. We're not forcing you to get this vaccine. But, like, this is your one shot. And so he went and got this vaccine. Now, you hear things like, I've read something that 40% of Marines are turning down the vaccine right now. And it's like, I think that's kind of ridiculous. Like, yeah, some people have their own autonomy and should have the right to their own body, right? My body, my choice. But since when does the government, the U.S. government, particularly care about like the grunt on the ground? You just stab them and don't give them the option. What are they going to do? Leave the military?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, dude, the government,
ain't going nowhere.
The military doesn't give you an option to do shit. You do what you're told. Like, just order them to take the fucking vaccine. But you know why that probably is? Probably because some of command doesn't believe in it, unfortunately.
Probably.
That's probably the issue.
I'll go with
that.
Well,
it's almost like having one specific political party, that politicizes public health for the last year or so. And they're one very specific, news channel that's being held in the military bases. It's almost like brainwashing works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I had people tell me they're not going to get the vaccine because of Bill Gates. I'm like, It's so ridiculous. Bill Gates, let him do your vaccine.
Bro. And you know what the silliest thing about that part is that they're all holding cell phones in their pockets or in their hands, and you're worried about being tracked by fucking Bill Gates. Like, dude, whatever we talk about in this show, I'll probably get ads for it on Facebook when I fucking leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're worried about a fucking vaccine tracking you, bro. You've been getting tracked. They've been pinging you off cell towers since fucking 1997.
You're checking in to the location where you're at anyway, so
right.
Like, there's
but
don't track me.
COVID is rising in some states. I saw Michigan's having big problems. Their positivity rates 18% now, and
Michigan out of ventilators.
It's fueling the conversation about vaccine passports. So far, Biden has their
Michigan's at as high as it's been.
Yeah, their administration is saying they're not going to mandate it, but we've seen 17 colleges say you can't come back on campus without a vaccination passport of some type. So I know it's a hot debate. Some people are concerned about it. Eddie, what's your thoughts on it?
Michigan's peak, previous peak was December 3rd with 8,100 new cases. Now their peak was April 9th with 8,700.
Yeah, so they're going up. But Michigan's kind of defiant state since the beginning.
I disagree with this whole vaccine passport thing, only in the sense that, like, why do we don't need it for, like, other infectious diseases, right? Like smallpox, polio, like, that stuff just lives in your health records at your doctor's office. Why is COVID any different? You know, I think that when we talk about COVID vaccines or passport vaccines, I think my biggest worry for COVID right now is what's happening internationally with, you know, Brazil and, you know, Italy, places like that, Germany, India.
Yeah.
There's no point in vaccinating the majority of Americans if the rest of the world has uncontrollable spread and the virus is still out there mutating, right? Like,
we're just gonna have to keep getting fucking
well, that's
why should I have a card that says I can travel to New York or, you know, Mexico or wherever it may be, if really going to those places is not inherently safe because we haven't done a good enough job worldwide to limit and end the pandemic. Like, ending it for Americans doesn't do anything if people are still traveling, right? That's how the pandemic came to America in the first place.
I don't agree that it's an all or nothing proposition. I understand it's not a perfect solution having vaccines, but I'm for it actually. Bro, if you don't want to help us reach herd immunity, that's fine. But then don't come out with the herd. I kind of don't. I don't really want you around me if you're really that unwilling to help stop this thing. And yes, it's a flawed system. I understand it's not perfect, but it's the best thing we got right now, and it's better than doing nothing. You know, they're trying to figure out what these variants do with these vaccines, and I'm sure they'll adjust the vaccine. And it is going to be an ongoing race to stay ahead. But I mean, that's all things. And no, we didn't do that for any of these other things that we have vaccines for. But maybe we should have. I don't know.
Herman Cain.
The ghost of Herman Cain making his first appearance in the third season.
This motherfucker was like, hey.
What up, Herm?
He wanted to make sure that we didn't forget about him, I guess.
Well,
let's see. Jason says.
He's a former military.
Yeah, the military is a whole different animal, and this is a completely different situation. They really can't enforce it due to other factors like it not being given due to a war zone type of scenario. I've had more shots of everything, including anthrax, than most people you know. This isn't enforceable legally. Soldiers still do have some rights.
Some. We're going to use the air quotes on that.
I get that, but that's really, I mean, the root of the problem here, right? Like, I don't know if you can say it's a problem, but like, you have human beings, human agents who have the right to make their own choices for themselves, right? Like, I could go get a cheeseburger right now, and then go get 3 more cheeseburgers, and then eat another cheeseburger. Like, it's not good for me, but no one's going to stop me. They're going to give me cheeseburgers until I run out of money. But at the same time, all these choices affect the general health of the entire country, and we can't just be like, well, yeah, I have the right to not wear a mask. Like, yeah, you do have the right to not wear a mask, but your choice is keeping us from returning back to normal.
Yeah.
From living the life of freedom that we have been accustomed to. I know that's cliche to say that about America, but I mean, my life is pretty sweet, and I want to go back to living it that way. And when you say, I don't want to wear a mask, I don't want to get a vaccine, what you're really saying is, let's not go back to being able to go to watch White Sox games. Let's not be able to go out to the bar in peace and without worrying about having a stroke and dying. That's really what people are saying. And people are not saying, well, I've made this choice. They're just saying, I'm not going to wear a mask. Like, okay, congratulations.
You know, it's an ongoing thing. You know, we're going to have to see how it develops and where it develops, because some places are just more obedient than others.
I think that it'd be nice for Americans, maybe, maybe 6 months in the future, where we turn on the TV and the story at 9:55 is a story about 50 people getting testing positive for anthrax, right, or for anthrax, for COVID. And we change the channel and put on Conan or something, and COVID is just another item in the news that we keep a track on. But the way things are going right now, I don't know that we'll ever, at this present rate, I think that we're very close to losing back all the gains we have made.
It's starting to kind of look that way. I do think we'll ultimately get to what you're talking about, but it's really just a question of when, man. Like how much fight is this? How big is this segment of the population going to prove to be, and how long are they willing to stand defiant? Is what it's going to come down to, and what's going to be done to, I don't want to say force them to do it, but let's give them a nudge in the right direction. It could be done through things like a vaccine passport. I don't know if it can be mandated. I don't know if the feds would do that, or it depends on what state you'd be in.
Just give a tax break to everybody who gets vaccinated. $100, $200.
Yeah, they've had a lot of ideas like that thrown out. I remember when they thought it was going to be dependent on this, or your stimulus was going to be dependent on it. I mean, some kind of enticement like that, I think would go a long way. But I mean, I don't know. People are going to bitch, but at the end of the day, for the right reason, they'll go along.
Right.
But eventually, it's like I said, my brother doesn't want to take it, but he's the only member of my family that has been vaccinated, bro. So it's like, sooner or later, you got to look around and be like, dude, everybody's vaccinated. Nobody's fucking died. Like, it's time to take the fucking vaccination. I would assume, but I don't know. That's just me.
Well, I have a friend who told me, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to get my vaccine round one. I'm going to wait to see how it goes. And now they're sick because they have COVID. And I'm like, well, I know you wish you got it earlier, but it's too late.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where it's like, I get that people have specific medical reasons, right? Like I know people who don't believe in the science behind this vaccine, and I get it, and I get why they believe it. But like, is it worth potentially getting really sick? I don't think so. That's why I got my first dose right away. But yeah, it just seems like at the end of it, you're making this longer than it has to be, right? Like,
yeah.
I remember early January, even early February, when the All-Star game was in town, and people were talking about COVID, but it wasn't like people weren't missing their. Nobody was wearing a mask before I go to the club, and
It was still pretty much business as
now
usual at that
that
time.
that's over,
Right.
and so like I know that it was a concern back then, but like to get back to where we were in February or January 2021, we need people to get their vaccines and keep wearing their masks. And like that's what's frustrating about it is like, are we ever going to get back to a place where we can do back to where we were
I think
or
we
not?
will.
Because like
I
it
think we
seems like
will.
people want to
I just don't know how long
get
it's
there
going to
without
take
making
and where it's
without
going to
doing the
take.
things they have to get there.
Eventually, it'll be behind us. We'll be back to normal, and then something from the permafrost that is 2 million years old will start killing people.
Someone will eat another fucking
And
exotic
that's what
animal.
I was having a discussion with some people. I was like, this ain't nothing. Like this ain't shit. There's all types of shit that's gonna be coming at once more and more. The Earth warms and more things defrost and more things become released into the air.
Yeah, with global warming.
Yeah, it's gonna get a lot worse with things that we've never experienced, like virus wise and such.
Right.
Right.
And so we should use COVID as maybe like a training exercise to get used to it and stuff. Like, can you imagine living in Texas, having no running water and gas because of winter storms, getting hit with a $2,000 water bill, and then the governor's like, "Well, don't worry, you don't have to worry about COVID anymore."
Yeah. No, my cousin's in Houston, and
Well,
she's having a hell of a time turning that state liberal.
yeah, Eddie lived in Austin for a long time. What, you were there for like what, 6 years, 5 years, 5.5 years?
4 years.
So we left. He left right before he left for Houston. Not too long, or he left for Austin about probably a year before I left for California.
Right.
Now everybody's leaving California and going to Texas. Not me. As the only thing about California that bothered me when I lived there, the 7 years I lived there, is the gun laws. That's it, and that's just because the county I lived in. San Diego County and LA County do not give out concealed carry permits unless you could prove that you need it.
Right.
LA County is the most populous county in the country, and there's under 1,000 concealed carry permits issued. I mean, of course, that LA County had a lot of gang violence in the 80s and 90s, and that's why it's like that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, San Bernardino County, which has had a school shooting, within the past it's been within the last 5 years. That one was. They hand out concealed carry permits like fucking candy on Halloween. Oh,
Right.
there you go. One for you. It's like Oprah. Everybody gets a fucking concealed carry permit.
Right.
See, why? That's one thing I do like about my state. Like, I have my gun license. I have my gun, and there's 31 states that recognize my license.
Yeah.
So, but the states I go to the most, Nevada and California and Illinois, right next door, don't honor my license. But Florida, when I went, like I've talked about before on the show, and when I went to Miami,
Yeah.
I had my gun with me. They recognize my shit. Every time I go to Michigan, So it's that should lead us right into Biden's
Right. You want to get into some of the guns?
yeah, let's get into the gun shit before we hit the infrastructure plan. Nice little segue we didn't plan.
So one of the biggest signs that America is reopening so far is that we're back to mass shootings.
Yeah, well, yeah, but and it's still hard to buy guns and ammo. It's still expensive as fuck.
It doesn't seem to be stopping anybody.
Oh no.
We had, I think we talked about the Atlanta shooting the last time we were on. Since then, we've had a guy light up a grocery store in Colorado. We've had 7 people killed in South Carolina. Chicago seems to be back to business as usual.
I'm all for more gun control in the aspect of expanding background checks, closing the loopholes.
Right.
Like I'm a firm believer that schizophrenics do not need guns whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like there has to be some kind of mental health
But
history played into the background checks.
but stop me if you heard this before. The thing holding up real gun legislation is the filibuster, who's what's being held for ransom by Joe Manchin.
Your
My fucking
your
arch
favorite-
nemesis, Joe Manchin.
your best friend.
What can you say about him that hasn't already been said about Afghanistan?
Yeah, but I'm a very big pro Second Amendment guy. I love guns. I've since what is it? Since June, I bought 5.
Bro, on these issues, when you poll them, you're talking 80-20, 90-10 favorability.
Yeah.
So you're talking Republicans. You're talking Second Amendment people. They're for a lot of these.
No, I'm not for like I said, I'm for the expanded background checks, closing the loopholes, shit like that. But I still think I'm still down. I'm not. I don't agree with the no assault rifle thing. Like we should be able to have the same guns that the military has. I'm a firm believer because that's the
We'll
reason that
never
the second.
have the same weapons.
Well, yeah,
the
yeah,
military
I know
has.
that, but
You
that's
might
the whole
have
reason for the Second Amendment.
you can try to shoot down their drones with your assault rifles. Not,
I know Eddie's a
you're
very
probably
big
in
pro
trouble.
Second
Yeah.
Amendment guy too.
If the government wants to issue me my own drone to help them defend against spectacle, I'm willing to do my part. Um, I don't know. How would you feel about this? Would you, when you say you're in favor of background checks, are you in favor of universal background checks, meaning background check every time you try to buy a gun? Or would you like to favor us somewhere like, let's say, every once a year, everybody who is in the database gets scanned against medical records for schizophrenic breaks or depression, against court records
Let's
for
go back.
I think the latter.
violent
And
assault and things
yes,
like
there
that.
should be a national gun database.
Yeah. Like
I
when
think.
when I had the heart attack in August of 2019, I had a seizure and a heart attack at the same time. And when I got to the emergency room, they once they documented everything, they had to contact the fucking DMV that I had a seizure and my license was automatically suspended until a hearing.
Right.
So why can't the same be done?
They do it for everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the idea of
But it's just
having-
like when you go to like when you go get your fingerprints for your card, right? And they do that background check. That main background check should automatically include it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's true. They make nurses and psychologists and people supposed to be mandatory reporters for abuse and
I did
rape
not say
and
that it
all
was
these things.
easy in any way,
There's
but
so
it needs to be expanded.
right. We already have mechanisms in place for people to
It's just as easy
be
as when
catalysts
the
for good,
when
right?
the domestic violence shit. It could be a misdemeanor domestic charge, but guess what? You can't have your gun no more.
Yeah.
You know it's just as easy.
I like the idea of having to pay insurance for gun ownership. They fucking make you insure everything else. You know, I think that's an intriguing concept.
But it's where they're gonna get over on that at just from my legal opinion on it would be that it's a right. So
Well, they're not.
they can't really enforce you to pay for a right.
Sure, they can. The right to drive, you pay for.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
18
Hey,
different
Eddie,
ways.
Eddie, can you turn on your audio a little bit? Your mic?
But yeah, I mean, none of what we talked about is going to get passed as things stand right now.
Eddie, you need some AirPods connected to your MacBook.
Yep.
You ain't got no AirPods?
They'll fuck up his hairdo.
They go in your ear.
I think. Never mind. So
He might not be able to find his ears.
everything we talked about as the Senate stands, we're not getting none of that through. But what Joe
No.
Biden did do is pass some executive actions. So it's here's what he passed. And this is what they say. The Justice Department within 30 days will issue a proposed rule to help stop the proliferation of ghost guns. So all those homemade guns I know some of you are making out there, it's going to be a lot harder to do. They
Yeah.
want to document them. The Justice Department within 60 days will issue a proposed rule to make clear when a device is marketed as a stabilizing brace effectively turns a pistol into a short barrel rifle subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. So they're coming after fucking conversion pieces, kits. The Justice Department, within 60 days, will publish model red flag legislation for states.
Okay.
Now, I think they're getting ordered to make the legislation, but I don't think like the states still got to pass it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not. I don't think it's gonna be federally enforceable, and I don't know how many states are gonna take it up either. The administration is investing in evidence-based community violence interventions. That I like. I like more intervention. You know, if you can find more non-violent ways to talk out of situations, or situations where
Define ghost guns and how many have been used in reported killings.
I don't have the numbers on that, but I mean, I could go get as many ghost guns as I wanted right now. I don't necessarily trust that the dude is making them right, and they might just blow up in my hand. But I mean, they're out there for sale, and they're non-traceable.
And what
That's
it
the
is,
issue.
too, it's a common political ploy to make it look like you're trying to do something anyway to stem the violence. Um, Especially since most of this violence isn't caused by the ghost guns, but he's limited in the power that he could do, so you got to make it look like he's doing fucking something.
Here, I'll read this little blurb to you. We'll see what the WhiteHouse.gov has to say. We are experiencing a growing problem. Criminals are buying kits containing nearly all of the components and directions for finishing a firearm within as little as 30 minutes and using these firearms to commit crimes. When these firearms turn up at crime scenes, they often cannot be traced by law enforcement due to a lack of a serial number. The Justice Department will issue a proposed rule to help stop the proliferation of these firearms. So, really, they're just making a proposition that these are problems should be dealt with.
Red flag laws should concern everyone, especially those who have been protesting the past year for Breonna Taylor.
I don't understand that connection. I'm always concerned with people that are mentally unhealthy having open access to weapons. That's where a lot of these mass shooting incidents come from. I feel very strongly about red flag laws. I understand it's a slippery slope, but at the end of the day, if you're not trusting police to do the right thing, I don't know. You have no faith in community, man. Like, you got to trust them to make the right judgment call. And I understand some people are going to get upset about that, but they're probably people that shouldn't be fucking armed.
To get back to your point though about the federal ghost gun mandate, like the ATF by congressional designation isn't even allowed to computerize the records. The ATF themselves, the feds can't even search their own records to find information about guns at crime scenes because of the way the serial number information is recorded in the ATF headquarters in their databases, their lack of database. I think that if the feds want to have a ban against ghost guns, they should probably figure out how to handle the way they're using the information that they are currently have about actual registered guns first.
Yeah, that would definitely make sense.
I mean, ultimately, yes, it should be done on.
So how are you going to have a red flag law if you can get the feds to search the database to see what the serial number of the gun that's reported to the person who's been reported?
Probably
Their
one of the
potential misdemeanor, violence against their partner.
I mean, probably one of the potential victims of the offender or the potential offender would probably have to tell the police that so and so is doing, I'm being abused. You have a girlfriend or something. He's got 5 guns upstairs.
That's gonna lead to a lot of mad girlfriends and shit though too, and people just saying shit.
It could.
Shit, I know a friend in a situation similar to that right now.
But that's when police really got to do their jobs and figure out what's what. I think, if they're not good enough to do that, then we need better police, I guess. I just, the answer can't be let's leave the guns with the guy with the mental health issues, who's probably not even getting proper treatment, probably not on the proper medication, and we're just gonna leave him with some fucking AR-15s and call it a day. Like that can't be the way this situation ends. You know, I understand sometimes the wrong decision is going to be made. I understand that sometimes power corrupts, but that we can't anymore. We just can't do that. So I would be willing to run the risk and just kind of work out the kinks as we go.
But to your point, like we're leaving in the hands of the police to do the right thing too. Like they don't treat domestic violence the way they should already. To think that they're not only are they going to improve their game, they're going to up it significantly. I think it's so asking too much from the local police department. I know I wouldn't trust Chicago Police Department to do the right thing because they're incapable of doing the right thing.
Or is this maybe one of the situations you bring in the social worker or you know a psych professional to do an evaluation, maybe just with the police's backup? I don't know. Like I feel like I'm making legislation here. I'm just saying there's just got to be some kind of way to do this because it needs to be done. You know, so I'm open to ideas.
Yeah, Joe. You could print up a lot of gun parts with a 3D printer.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's
Yeah.
what ghost guns are.
Yeah.
They're just guns that are basically homemade without serial numbers. And that's what they're talking about attempting to legislate. I don't even really know how they're gonna do that. To be honest with you, I guess I don't know. What do you just make them illegal, and then you probably never catch anybody making them? Because why would you? You know, unless you fall into like a ghost gun ring and you send a snitch in or something. I don't know. A couple other executive orders. The Justice Department will issue an annual report on firearms trafficking. So they're going to start keeping, like you guys said, there's no data. They're going to start attempting to keep more track. I'm assuming they're going to compile some numbers if they're going to issue an annual report on it. So that's a step in the right direction. And then this one's got a little bit more steam, and I didn't even know about this. We haven't had a director of the ATF for 5 years because of Republicans. They just left the seat blank or empty. So Biden nominated David Chapman. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on this dude. I didn't know much about him, but what I'm kind of hearing, I don't know, people are a little worried that he might be a little too strict, but I kind of feel like that's what you get for fucking around and leaving the position open that long, just so they had no leadership. So, I don't know. We'll have to learn more about him and come back to it, I guess, as time goes on. What is Jason saying here?
The problem is none of this really is addressing any of the root causes. None of what is being passed would have stopped any of the previous mass shootings, which is the entire platform for this, and highly misleading. But red flag laws can easily be abused not only by those in power or LEO, but salty exes or family members with little to no proof. Yeah, it happens all the time now.
I don't agree that these wouldn't have stopped any of the previous mass shootings. I think that they would have definitely, when the red flags would have caught some of these guys. I think having a database would have caught some of these guys. Some of them were on the radar for, you know, like I think there was the Parkland shooter. He was running around with white supremacist groups and posting all kinds of shit online. Like they had caught wind of him before. So I do think that it would have stopped some of these. And to be honest, like if we stop just 10% of these mass shootings, isn't that a win? And that's a low fucking number. That's very low hanging fruit. But is that not victory? You know, you said that saves hundreds of lives, even it just a 10% difference.
I like these ones. Gas prices are skyrocketing because the president.
Yes, the president makes. You know what? That's you're partially right because he is doing things to stop oil, to stop fossil fuels, and that's fine. It's a transformation this country needs to make. We're getting blown away in green energy because we're fucking hanging on to oil and coal and all this other goofball shit that is destroying our fucking planet, and we don't have to. So we're moving on to more electric and the green economy.
Gas prices are up right now because the Suez Canal was blocked for a week and a half, and Israel keeps
Job
attacking
training
Iran.
programs,
Yep.
which
Right now, and Israel keeps attacking Iran.
What's up?
Guys, I gotta head out. Good talking politics with you. We will be back next week.
Yeah, come back, bro. We'll be back next Sunday. So come
4 to 6
with us.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, bro. One good thing Biden has done, or is at least trying to do, in the infrastructure bill, is also a jobs program. It's 19 million jobs. So these handful of people left doing fucking fossil fuels, they can move to these new jobs and be just fine. What else good has he done? I can't believe you're on here crying about gas prices. You're such a cheap fuck, Mush. I know this dude. He didn't say none of this shit to me last night when we were watching WrestleMania together, but now he's got all these things to say. I mean, the COVID relief bill, dude, he put fucking stimmy in your pocket. He's revitalizing the economy. The economy's about to go through the roof. Y'all thought Trump was the economic god, and it turns out Biden's going to blow him the fuck away because he was willing to invest the capital that Trump wasn't willing, and the Republicans weren't willing to do because they're cheap fucks and they don't care about you. I hate to say it like that, but they didn't want to give the people shit. They gave everything. All right, Herman, chill out. They gave everything to big business. The tax cut went to big business. All the stimulus went to big business. It was all a fucking insider game, and you weren't inside it. I wasn't inside it. None of us were fucking inside. We weren't welcome. Biden's cutting us in. He's doing things for us. He's doing things that really help the small business in that COVID plan. I like a lot of his executive actions. I'm not really mad at any of them. You can go through them and actually learn about them because you probably can't name one. So go read them, and if you're mad about them, you come back and we'll fucking debate it. And you know what? Fuck the gas prices. First off, the gas prices always go up this year. Second off, fuck gas.
OPEC's not producing to drive the price of the gallons up.
We're gonna create 100 million electric charging stations. So fuck gas.
Yep.
Did I answer your question well enough? Is there anything else you want to know about it? Or can we get back on the fucking script now? Did we say everything we needed to say about Matt Gaetz?
I mean,
there ain't a whole lot to say.
He's a piece of shit.
It all kicked up this week that he's flying 17-year-olds over state lines. His homie looks like he's about to snitch on him. His homie's facing. Let me just tell you why he's snitching. I got these real quick. Here we go. Let's see here. Thursday cooperation agreement. He faces one count of sex trafficking involving a girl, and he's also being charged with stalking a political rival and trying to bribe a federal official. So he tried to play some snaky shit, and he got popped. And again, this dude's name is Joel Greenberg. He was a county tax collector north of Orlando, and he's in all kinds of pictures with Matt Gaetz. They're buddies, and they got them sending Venmo and money back and forth to each other, and all kind of shit. And it sounds like he's gonna snitch on Gaetz. I guess we'll have to see how that unfolds. But he just, I look at him like, dude, you definitely touch little girls. I don't know if I should. I could probably get sued just for saying that right now, but man, he just looked creepy as hell.
Yeah.
He looks like a creepy caricature of a human being. He doesn't even look like a real person. So, we'll stay tuned with that. Oh yeah, we had a trial this week, Rob. A piece of a trial.
Oh yeah, Jason. Didn't he have the one lone vote against the sex trafficking bill?
I think I heard something like that. He probably did. I don't know what these Republicans are doing. Us Democrats have our issues, but I don't know what some of these Republicans are doing. And then Jim Jordan and Marjorie Taylor Greene instantly came to his defense and defended his character. And then, stories broke about him showing pictures of naked chicks to his colleagues on the fucking House floor and all this type of stuff. Schmo, sentencing for Matt Gaetz? Or are you going to Derek Chauvin? Because we had the Derek Chauvin trial this week, too. And it was hot and heavy. The prosecution was laying their case out. Man, they put on a very convincing case. All those eyewitnesses were very convincing. I found them very believable. They really seemed fucked up. The one old guy started crying. It was tough. It was tough to watch. And then they brought in all the police and all the medical examiners. And it's all a very damning case. Well, I guess we'll have to see what the defense does. They'll probably start in a day or two. But, I mean, I don't know what they're going to tell me. It's going to make me unsee what I already saw. And what's crazy, we talk about how this is, a society that is always watching each other and how many cameras are out here. And they have like 360 angles of him killing George Floyd. They have so much different footage. It's crazy. So we'll see what the defense puts on, but man, I think they're fucked. I think he's fucked. I think he's going to the joint. And Joe, when you're talking about predictions, a lot of people right now are making the big deal of does he get convicted of murder or does he just get convicted of manslaughter? And that seems to be the big discussion. I personally don't care, but he needs. What matters to me is how much time he gets more than what he gets convicted of. And you know what? I think 12 years is a pretty good guess. It has to be over 10. I don't know if he's going to get more than 15. I'd love to see 20, but that might just not be realistic.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the 12 to 15 range, I think, would satisfy people enough. And we'll see how that plays out. What do you think?
I'm ready for it to be all over. Because every time everything starts to calm down, it starts up again. Most people think he'll get off, just because the history of everything else in other similar cases.
Well, here's the scary part. It only takes one person to hang a jury.
Exactly.
And so all you need is one super pro-blue or Trumper laying in the mist.
The city went ahead and settled with the family.
Joe, I don't think under 20. I agree. I agree that some of these cases are gonna have societal impact and that should probably be considered by the jury. I don't think 20 is gonna or less than 20 is gonna cause riots. I think less than 10, and they would burn down the whole state of Minnesota. He's got to get double digits. It's big trouble time. But yeah, you know what? Back to what you were saying, Rob. We're on the stretch run, but it has been long. It's ate up a good couple weeks of my daily TV watching. Just taking up time on some of my shows, but it should be over. It should be over soon, within a week or two. But man, it's been over a year since George Floyd died, man. Some of these cases are going to start coming up, and there is going to be deep societal impact. I believe that with the Kyle Rittenhauser case, because I don't believe you could make it if you don't convict Kyle Rittenhauser. You're telling America that if you see something on TV you don't like, you can just take a gun there and go fucking shoot people. That's essentially what a not guilty verdict would do for Rittenhouse. So that's one of those two. This one, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're playing to the mob, but it's time for these bogus-ass cops to know that they're not untouchable. when you watch that video, the look on his face and the way he's acting, he doesn't care. He thinks he's going to get away with it. He doesn't have a care in the world that everybody's filming him and yelling at him. He thought he was untouchable in that moment. And these shitty cops need to know that they're not untouchable. These bad ones that don't do their job fucking well and hurt people unnecessarily. They need to be put on notice. So that's a big societal statement wrapped up in this case. You know, especially, you know, even if it's somebody like George Floyd. You know, even if it's someone like George Floyd who had a criminal history and at times wasn't a great person, he still has rights. And that needs to be fucking spoken for. I don't know, Schmo. We'll see what kind of case the prosecution puts on. But if you let Kyle Rittenhouse go, like I said, you're making it okay to take a fucking firearm and go into a protest and start fucking shooting people for property that ain't yours. Jason, I think you've been misinformed. A lot of people have. When you see all the footage lined up, that was not self-defense. And Schmo, George Floyd was just another felon until that cop killed him. He made him somebody. You know, like George Floyd, you're right. He was no saint. He was no hero. He wasn't even an upstanding member of society. But by killing him, you made him something greater than he could ever have been in life. Now it is what it is. You know, and Jason, I was only comparing the two situations in terms of the societal ramifications of the decisions. Yeah, they're both very different situations with very different players, very different cases. You know, well, I guess we can make another comparison after we see how the Rittenhouse case plays out. But, I mean, they both have strong societal impact. I think Rittenhouse even more so.
Yeah, definitely more so.
Because if everybody who didn't fucking like shit could just grab a gun and go fucking shoot at people about it, if that was legal, I mean, that's pretty much the start of the next civil war at that point. Because you just got everybody shooting at everybody, and motherfuckers are gonna, you know, align with people and choose sides, and you know you're down the rabbit hole, bro. You're a war at that point, so you can't make it okay for him to do what he did. My opinion. We'll see how it plays out. It should be coming up. You know, I've heard about, you know, little status dates and things like that, but the trial, how long till we see guns at the March for Life then? I have no idea. Jason, he shot two people, or he shot one person and then ran away, and two people caught up to him. So I think, and to be honest, I think when you wake up that morning and you decide you're going to fucking cross state lines and go shoot people, I think you lose the right to self-defense. That sounds like premeditation. Like he didn't accidentally find himself in a riot and grab his gun and try to protect his shit. That wasn't his shit. You know what I'm saying? He was sitting in Illinois eating Wheaties that morning like, man, I'm going to have my mom drop me off over there. And I'm not clear 100% if he brought the gun with him or got the gun afterwards. But either way, when he got there, but either way, he intended to get the gun. And what? Didn't do what? What are you doing with the gun? You've crossed state lines. You've went 100 miles to go into a fucking protest, riot, whatever. You've armed yourself, and then it's self-defense. Not buying that. Not buying that at all. But how long until we see guns at the March for Life? I don't know, man. This country's going down a gun rabbit hole pretty deeply. I would love to see everybody throw the guns down, but my people won't be throwing ours down until everybody else throws theirs down. So we'll have to see how that all goes. But I mean, whether you see guns at the March for Life, you could probably assume motherfuckers are armed everywhere you go now. Somebody's gonna have a fucking strap on them, whether it's legal or illegal, concealed or not. Somebody's gonna. I mean, it's a fairly safe assumption to assume that motherfuckers are armed everywhere, all the time. We've got more guns in this country than people. Anywho, you want to do infrastructure now?
Go ahead.
So, our boy Biden, what Mush want to ask what Biden's been doing. Well, this is what he's been doing. After passing a $2 trillion COVID plan, he's followed up with the American Jobs Plan, which is a $2 trillion infrastructure plan. Some highlights from the plan, so we just get a feel for what it is. Fix highways, rebuild bridges, upgrade ports, airports, and transit systems. Stop me if there's anything you want to throw in on these, as I just kind of rattle them off.
Go ahead.
Deliver clean drinking water, a renewed electric grid, and high-speed broadband to all Americans. I can't believe that there's still parts of this country that don't that don't have broadband yet. I have a hard time getting my head around that. The drinking water is way overdue. We got to get the lead out of these pipes. Flint is still struggling. There's parts, I think, of Mississippi that have real bad water. Hell, Fort Heights has brown sludge for water, last I checked. The electric grid, I wonder if they're bringing in Texas on that. Since they're the ones that really had the electric grid issue over the winter. But I'm sure we could all use some work on that because, I don't know, everything here is old in America. So I wouldn't expect the electric grid to be any different. Build, preserve, and retrofit more than 2 million homes and commercial buildings, modernize our nation's schools and child care facilities, and upgrade veterans' hospitals and federal buildings. So I'm with that shit. Like, that sounds like it's needed, especially the veteran part and the schools.
A lot of it is shit that's fucking been needed for a long time.
Well, and what the big argument, well, let me get through these and then we'll get into, the political breakdown. Solidify the infrastructure of our care economy by creating jobs and raising wages and benefits for essential home care workers. I think that's much needed because a lot of these healthcare workers are underpaid.
Definitely.
Revitalize manufacturing, secure U.S. supply chains, invest R&D, and train Americans for the jobs of the future. Absolutely. That's been the key all along. And that's a big Republican talking point is, it took our jobs, like the South Park and shit, because we're attacking fossil fuels. But you have to replace them with this. And you have to put these jobs where workers are losing their jobs. I think that's fair. So, big deal there. Create good quality jobs that pay prevailing wages in safe and healthy workplaces while ensuring workers have a free and fair choice to organize, join a union, and bargain collectively with their employers. So they're strengthening union rights. I think that's much needed in a lot of this country. What are you posting? Are we following along? I can't read what that is.
Yeah, what are you reading off of?
WhiteHouse.gov.
That's what it is. So it's the same.
So yeah, if you can read that stuff, read along. Build world-class transportation infrastructure, fix highways, rebuild bridges, and upgrade ports, airports, and transit systems. I think they kind of already alluded to some of that, but we definitely need it. Transform our crumbling transportation infrastructure. Okay, we're getting a little repetitive here, but It's okay to emphasize it multiple times because we really do need it. You know, in the 60s, we led the world in infrastructure, and we've fallen way behind.
They really haven't. What it is they haven't maintained everything they built in the '60s.
They don't
That
want
big boom.
they don't want to invest in fixing it and upgrading it. Make our infrastructure more resilient. Okay, that's fair. Rebuild clean drinking water infrastructure. A renewed. Yeah, okay, they're kind of doubling down now. So you get the idea. And the big deal is to Republicans. You know, they're saying it's a Trojan horse, just like they did the COVID bill. And they're saying, and the argument now is what is considered infrastructure. You know, because there's physical infrastructure, and now there's digital infrastructure, and there's societal infrastructure. And the Biden administration is going real hard to try to change what people see as infrastructure. And again, most of the policies in this bill, it's 80-20, favorable. But for some reason, the Republican Congress is standing against it. And they've already came out and said, you're not getting any Republican votes on this. You know, they threw fucking poo-pooed on it.
Not surprising.
You know, Biden's trying to bring him in to do something bipartisan. He's giving him a shot, just like he did on COVID. But we already know how that's going to end. They're going to come in and say, hey, let's spend $300 billion instead of $2 trillion. And Biden's going to laugh him out of the fucking Oval Office, which he should do, because they're not making serious counter proposals. When they begin, they'll be taken seriously, and we'll have the bipartisanship that he campaigned on. But if Republicans aren't going to make serious offers, they're not going to be taken seriously. But in comes my boy, Joe Manchin. And now he don't want to do reconciliation again, and he's fucking crybabying about the fucking corporate tax rate, which we were going to hike like 8% to help pay for this. So we got to make him happy again. Everything comes down to Joe fucking Manchin, bro. Why is he even a Democrat? Why is he not just a Republican? He kills me. You know, he looks just like Joe Theismann, and I wish somebody would mangle his leg just like Joe's.
Oh, shit. Well.
You know, Biden's playing real nice with him, having a lot of patience. I'm not sure how the fuck he's doing it, because I would lose my shit, dude. And I would just look for a way to blackmail him. Just shut the fuck up and sit down and let us push this country forward.
Joe gonna Joe.
Both Joes are gonna Joe. Yeah. So they expect to pass, at least through the House, the infrastructure bill by July 4th, the July 4th recess.
Okay.
So I guess they're gonna spend the next couple months haggling. And you know, they are open for negotiations. So we'll see what happens when they break it down and really start digging into it. Maybe they'll make some corrections and adjustments to help please some people. We will see. But that's going to be the hot theme of the summer. And, you know, they had, God, I forgot what they call the person. But there's someone in the Senate that decided on what is and what isn't reconciliation. And that person just ruled that you're only supposed to have one of these a year, but we got two because the one last year didn't get used, so it like rolled over. But they just found a loophole to where we have three more now.
Oh shit!
So and you know, for everyone that don't understand, the big deal is that with reconciliation, you can just do 50 plus one. You don't need 60 votes. Yeah. So that's the only way we're going to pass anything.
As long as it. Well, I think it is, as long as it don't have anything to do with the budget.
It has to have something.
Oh, it has to have something to do with the budget.
Yeah, so there's some things you can't use it on. I don't know if we have three more things we want to use it on, but it's nice to have those in the pocket and try to frame things maybe a certain way to get them through. But ultimately, bro, it's going to come to a head about the filibuster. And I know we've been talking about the filibuster a lot too, but so far,
it's important.
Biden's been putting forward things that you can move on through reconciliation. You don't need to deal with the filibuster. But sooner or later, the filibuster is going to happen. I mean, either we're going to have to reform it or eliminate it entirely. And guess who's opposed to it? I'll give you 3 fucking guesses. Who's opposed to it?
Joe Manchin, and Joe Manchin.
The Supreme Court, I'm not sure if that's handled a different kind of way. Biden just opened a committee or started a committee to look into expanding the court, which I've heard some pretty good cases put on for it, but I don't think he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get to it his presidency. I think it's a bridge we're going to cross later. He's just assemble some data, I think, to keep people off his ass. Let's see what Jason's saying here. I completely agree. Republicans need to grow a spine and bring some offers to the table, but changing definitions. Well, you can't use the same definition that you did in the 1960s, man, when the internet didn't exist. And is he trying to kind of handle multiple issues in one bill? Yeah. I mean, he is kind of reaching on some of these things, but that's because he's not going to get any Republican support on any of them individually. So he has to get as many things under this umbrella as he can, because it might be the only things he gets done his entire 4 years. This could be it. If Joe Manchin don't come around and play ball, if we lose the midterms, that's it. The sum total of your presidency will be the COVID bill and the infrastructure bill. So the more areas of life you can touch on, I mean, the more you're accomplishing. And that's just the political reality of it, unfortunately. If we were in an environment where we could negotiate and find collaboration and put out bills on things, it will be different. But, like I said, there was no internet in the 60s. So you couldn't prepare for that infrastructure. And other things like that. Like it's the same way I look at a lot of the Constitution, man. These guys in the 1700s just couldn't have been prepared for some of the things we're dealing with today. And that's why I kind of look at it as more of a living document. So we'll see where that goes. And hopefully Joe Manchin will quit being a pussy. You know what? The immigration plan is one of the things. He has an immigration plan. And it's not under the infrastructure. It's under its own plan. But it's one of the things that's going to probably come down to the filibuster. That, voters' rights, gun legislation reform, or gun reform legislation. There's a few more things too. I'm sure healthcare. It's all stuck on deck until we get the filibuster passed, or take a 60 vote majority. But good luck. Like I kind of feel like at the midterms. I mean, to me, Joe Manchin's a fucking Republican.
Boom. Thank you, Joe. I've been that's exactly what I was fucking talking about earlier that I couldn't remember. The wall. They have not stopped. No orders come down to stop or anything.
The wall is.
But I don't think they're doing any new parts of the wall. They're just replacing old parts of the wall.
Right. And I'm not against having some sort of physical border. It was just stupid to believe that it was going to be the end-all, be-all of illegal immigration.
And that he was going to make another country pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, and then the billions that he redirected from people that needed it, or places that needed it. Bro, you still got more immigrants coming in on airplanes. I don't know. There's still plenty of people getting in and out all the time. Whatever. You want to build a wall of some sort, fine.
As far as I know, new wall in around like the Calexico, California area, new wall there's no new wall work going on anymore. So, but there is still old wall work in San Diego that's going on.
All right, Herman Cain. And here's the big deal. All right, I know you're probably looking at it, Joe, and you're probably like, well, Trump was building the wall, and now Biden's still fucking with the wall. So that's hypocritical. Let me tell you the difference. The Biden administration isn't using it as a political ploy. They're not terrifying people, with the brown menace or the caravans of doom and trying to say, hey, the wall's gonna fucking save you. Just like Obama with the deportations, he did more than Trump, but he did them quietly. He didn't use them politically. And that's the big difference. That's what Biden's doing. He's still repairing the wall, yeah, but he's not using it as a crux of his immigration platform. He's not using it as a divisive topic and making it a symbol of, Trumpism, I guess. I almost even want to say like white pride, because it really did become like there was a racist element to it under Trump, whereas like white people be scared. We got to put the wall up. I don't know. But you know what, though? I mean, he's denying everybody at the border. We're just getting, the only people that we're taking are fucking children without parents. So, it's putting us in a tough spot. We're doing the best we can with it. If they would get off their ass and pass this legislation, it would help a lot. But they just made it so people that want to apply for asylum can do it from their homes in their countries. You don't have to come here to do it. Like they're trying to do things to quell this shit. But yeah, I mean, of course, when Trump got out of office, people were going to rush for the border.
They're still rushing for the border before he got out of office.
They were hanging out just outside the border.
Just chilling.
Yeah, they had fucking tent cities there. As soon as Biden got in office, they just got up out of their tent bed and tried to cross. Got in line and applied. But yeah, we're not letting in any adults. We're not letting in any children with adults. We're just letting in unaccompanied minors and trying to figure out what to do with them, man, because they're fucking kids and they don't have no fucking parents. What you can do? Send them back
That's
to
where
the desert?
Biden really is dropping the ball with whatever he's trying to figure out what to do with the kids. The situations for them haven't got any better.
I know cities and like he ordered FEMA to help out and things like that, but I mean, I think they really need some legislation, some real legislation to make real change. They need real investment in those courts. We need more judges.
Well, that's going to take a while. So he needs to get a executive order fucking happy again and sign one. So
he did sign some for immigration, but I mean, clearly
some
they're
for the
not.
kids.
Yeah,
they're still fucking beyond capacity at these places that weren't even designed to house them anyway.
Now, I don't know this for sure, but I wonder if Biden's in a position where he can't do any more without legislation.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, clearly it's an issue, and I'm sure he would love to make the issue go away. I'm sure he's not, waking up like, yes, more unaccompanied minors at the border. Fuck yeah. No, man. Of course he would want to fix it. Who wouldn't? Or at least make it so your political opponents can't fucking roast you for it for 4 years. Try to do something. So that kind of makes me think that maybe he can't do any more. Let's see. Yeah, what has he got to say?
Serious question, and I'm not a Trumper, no riding with Biden, but honestly, do y'all think that maybe the administration went a little too pen happy with the EOs trying to cancel out the previous administration's actions?
I think both parties say that about the other party when the one's in fucking power, to be honest with you. I mean, I think Trump's done more. I would have to double check that and look that up. But in this political climate, how else do you get anything done? That's the problem is you run in, you worry about, well, if we do this, then this, and this could happen. Oh, if we blow up the fucking filibuster, it might come back to haunt us. But your alternative is being stuck where you are, not progressing, not fixing any issues. And that's what pretty much the most of the last 30 years has been for us. Like, I understand there's no perfect solution here, and it's give and take, and there's some risk, and there's some things you'll sacrifice that you might regret down the road. But how else do you get anything done? The worst thing about I guess the best and worst thing about executive orders is that they can be undone by the next administration, which is good coming from Trump, but was bad going into Trump. So, I mean, it does play both ways.
I know I can't stop eating them.
I did good not eating them for a little while, but now I need a few more. So, that's the legislative big deal right now. We'll see what happens. We'll definitely keep you guys in tune as it advances, progresses. Next, last but not least, we lost a legend. When was that? Friday? Yeah, it was Friday when they finally announced that he was gone off life support. Earl Simmons, a.k.a. DMX. He was one of my favorite rappers growing up. Very complicated story, man. And he put it all out there for you to know. But, man, you want to talk about the dichotomy of a person. On one hand, you've got a serial robber, drug addict. On the other hand, you've got a faithful family man.
Not that faithful. He had 17 kids.
How many wives, though? Or how many baby mamas?
He was with one main woman the whole time, but, like, had a lot of traveling because the kids were kind of spread out all over the place.
I'm at faithful religiously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he prayed on every album.
Yeah.
He died of complications from a drug overdose. I think he was smoking crack and went into cardiac arrest. Not his first run-in with drugs. God, I remember when they found him at the airport and he tried to tell people he's a fucking fed. You remember that?
Yeah. He was something else.
Yeah. But he put out some of the most defining
Especially the first two albums. It's Dark and Hell's Hot and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood.
Which you put out in under a calendar year.
9 months.
Yeah.
9 months between the two. It had never been done like that because it was such a big, the first one was such a big album. And then he followed it right back up like, fuck it, let's hit him with it again.
Yeah, he doubled down.
And then it was just like, man, like you never really heard anybody like him before. He didn't rap, he talked. Because, like, if you would talk to him, he sounded, it was the same shit. You know, he rapped how he talked. So it's like he was spitting a verse when he was talking to you.
He did, and it was like always with that cadence.
Yeah.
Yo, that's my man's in them.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, it's very, very, very troubled soul. You could have seen the writing on the wall years ago that it was probably going to end like this.
Bro, I read his autobiography a long time ago, and I can't remember a whole lot of it. But he was from Yonkers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up like homeless, poor as fuck, and literally was robbing people with his pit bull.
Yeah.
Literally robbing to survive, man.
Yeah.
His brother got him hooked on drugs. He gave him a blunt laced with crack and didn't tell him. So that was his first run-in with crack, which would on again, off again, dominate his life unto his death. But, man, one of the most, I want to find a word better than passionate, but the energy that he brought to his craft was so hard. And then, you know, I was listening to a lot of people talk about
no hype man, nothing. He's just out there.
He was hype enough.
Giving it his all, rapping every fucking word.
And Mr. C was talking about him on Rock the Bells over the weekend. They said if you ever saw a live DMX show, which I didn't have the pleasure of doing, unfortunately, the energy he brought every time was just off the charts. He brought a realness. He was symbolic for a generation. Because we all, you know, if you're my age, I'm 39, Rob, you're 40?
Yeah.
If you're from our era and either didn't have drug problems or you knew somebody with drug problems. I'm sorry. There was if you say that neither are true, you're a fucking liar.
Then you are probably the drug problem.
Yeah, like we came up
Yeah.
on a very illegally medicated era. You know, you can watch the crack biography on Netflix, which is a great story, but it's just so fucking tragic. The opioid crisis, all my lifetime. And I saw it back in 2009 in Florida, man, when they were giving everybody roxycodone scripts, man.
Yeah.
Like it was heavy. Everybody was strong.
Everything.
Yeah. And
We
there's
have
still
one for, like Oprah. Like I said earlier,
Right.
everybody gets a fucking script.
right to West Virginia, where like one little town was getting it ended up being like 10,000 pills a year per person, and they're basically feeding the whole county opioids. You know, we've seen the rise of ecstasy and Molly, which I don't think existed before I was born, and a host of other drugs, man. You know, legal and illegal. We're just a generation that we have a war. We have a war on sobriety. We have had one for a long time, and you know he was a symbol of that. He got caught up in it, man, and he tried to do the right thing. But man, he put out some classic records. What's your favorite X record?
Man. I don't know.
It's a tough question, ain't it?
It all depends on the mood. He got one for every mood.
I think my favorite's ATF.
Okay.
But
Man.
man, there's a lot of really good records. There's a lot of powerful records. You're right, depending on what kind of mind state you're in, they can all catch you at the moment. And he was gone at 50, man. So rest in power, Earl Simmons. I worry as a culture, as these titans and pioneers and symbols of, I guess, what made me fall in love with hip hop so long ago, as they start passing, who's going to step up and grab and run with these torches
Well,
for the culture?
well, it's somebody that the younger generation likes. Unfortunately,
I don't think
we might not agree with it, but to them, it's what it's going to be.
I don't. I could be being the old fogey here. I'll grant you that, but I'm not confident that these guys have what it takes to really have like long-standing success, making like great, classic, timeless records. There's a few guys out there, but I just don't know if there's enough these days. There's more of these trendy pop rappers.
It definitely wouldn't be nobody that we're going to be quick to fucking mention. It'll be somebody that the 18 to fucking 28-year-old demographic is going to decide.
Well, I asked this on Facebook, and like I got a lot of the usual suspects. It was like Kendrick, J. Cole, Benny, and those are all legitimate answers. But I'm not sure there's enough of those guys. You see guys like Kendrick and J. Cole taking these long ass hiatuses in the middle of their run.
Yeah.
As opposed to like we grew up with Lil Wayne, bro. That motherfucker couldn't not give you a tape. He gave you a tape every other month for like 8 years. Whether it be a mixtape or an album, bro, he gave so much content.
And now he just super fucking fried.
He is super fried. But, like, I'm listening to the same Kendrick album from 2017.
Yeah. He makes music when he wants to make music, not because he has to make the music.
I know, but I feel like, and that's fine, but I feel that might prevent them from going as high up, I guess, in the GOAT conversation.
Okay.
In the end, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, you could be working, you could be giving us great music to bump to, but instead you're leaving us to the likes of these pop rappers. And maybe the younger generation will have a say. I'm sure they'd put Young Thug in there, But I mean, a lot of, like Lil
Somebody
Baby,
weird.
Baby, a lot of these other ones, like I just feel like in 5 years everyone's going to forget they ever existed.
It's a different attention span now too. The music seemed more meaningful to our generation than it does now. Now it's the music's it has don't. It's a vibe. It's not a It's you don't look for the meaning in the music anymore. It's just a fucking vibe. Like some of these rappers' words don't even make sense, but it's the beat and the melodies.
Yeah.
They're saying whatever they want to say. So
Right. I'm always concerned about the future of the culture. It's been a concern of mine for a while, and it just still seems to be heading in a direction that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. Um, at least fucking no one talks about 6ix9ine anymore.
yeah,
Thank God, like that phase is over
he rears his ugly head every now and again and scurries back into his hole.
because that's a big black eye in hip hop.
Yeah,
That dude ate on shit. Um, yeah, some of these younger cats. I mean, I don't know. I just don't care for their music as much. But yeah, maybe they will end up being the next generation. It's entirely possible. Of course, this also seems to be the generation of dead rappers. I mean, and
nobody takes care of themselves, especially people our age. Even if they do have health insurance, they don't regularly go to the doctor to get checked out or anything like that. They just wait till something happens. And they're like, "Oh my God, how did that happen?"
well, you got shot. Oh, yeah, yeah. There's some of that. There's some violence,
People,
and hip hop's always been a rough business. You've always had to be a little tough and streetwise to maneuver through it, especially at an independent level. But it seems like more rappers are dying than ever. I think part of that is probably because of the drill scene. They're almost uniformly wiped out, except for fucking Dirk and like Herbo
yeah.
and what's his name went to college.
Well, it's not that it's wiped out. Really, it's just moved. Now there's a lot of New York drill rappers.
Yeah, I wonder if they're faring better than the Chicago drill rapper. When I think of drill, I still think of Chicago because we created it, we had it at its peak, and now 9 out of 10 of them motherfuckers are dead.
Yeah, no, people just they copy the flow and the rhyme patterns and everything like that.
Yeah,
They're
I mean
just in
London's got a
different-
drill scene too.
Yeah, it's just
but they don't have guns
yeah.
really. So I mean, they're just fucking stabbing each other and shit probably.
slingshots and shit.
But up to Vaughn, I mean, we've lost a ton of drill rappers, man. But that's because they were really living the shit they were talking about. They were bragging about the shit they were doing.
Exactly, that's correct.
And they were putting themselves on pedestals and making themselves targets for the ops. And the ops caught them sooner or later. Most of them.
That's what happens. Statistically speaking, the longer you do something, the more chances you're gonna get something's gonna happen. So
yeah, especially when you're promoting yourself like that.
that's why you
Promote what
hurry
you're
up.
doing.
You go, you get to what you need to do, get it done, and get out.
And you shut up about it.
And you shut them
You
up.
don't make songs about fucking, you don't go shoot 3 people and then come back and make a fucking song about it. But that's what they were doing. That's how real it was. Like, for anybody that isn't really familiar with the Chicago drill scene, go to YouTube and look up Chicago Street Legends, and you're gonna see individual stories about some of the biggest hitters, but a lot of the rappers too. And bro, a lot of these kids, you know what? DMX probably grew up the same way, just to tie it back in, but a lot of these they're like serial killers at 20 years old. X lasted a lot
Yeah.
longer than most of them. And then you got guys like Chief Keef that just can't never come back to Chicago. When's the last time he even been here? 6, 7 years ago? He literally won't come back because they got money on his head, and then the police want his ass, and he's got all kinds of cases here.
Like, fuck it. What do I need to come back for?
Yeah, he's just posting up in Cali. But I mean, that's how you live in this scene. It's the kind of shit that happens. But yeah, rest in power, DMX, man. I've been banging this shit all weekend. We'd play some here. Fucking Zuck wouldn't cut us off. Fuck you, Zuck.
Yeah. What he said.
Yeah, man. It's a tragedy. I mean, it touches on a lot of different issues, like we discussed off camera. From drug abuse to mental health to socioeconomical issues. DMX's story touches on all of them. But he's also a success story.
That is.
I saw a meme, and I want this to be true. I don't know for sure if it is.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
But
talking about.
Jay-Z and Beyonce were buying his masters and giving them to his kids. Man, only 10 million? That's all DMX's masters are worth?
That's crazy.
Who's got them?
Because whoever has them right now is making shitload of money because they're being streamed hella.
It's got to be. I mean, how does he not have his masters?
Well, his masters had to belong to Def Jam at some point.
Rough Riders. But I thought they were all guys, man. I would have thought, they were fucking eating. Def Jam probably got a piece of them. Maybe they're just buying that piece back.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
He seems to live very frugally, so it don't seem like he has.
Well, he claimed bankruptcy a couple times.
Exactly. So his split must not have been
17 kids in all them cases.
favorably in his favor.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, that doesn't necessarily strike me as a guy who was great with cash.
No.
He never struck me as a guy who cared a whole lot about money.
No, not at all. What? There was a picture of him. What's he wearing? He's wearing like a fucking, just like a regular ass T-shirt. And I was like, that look. He looks like a fucking alleyway mechanic.
Yeah, there were stories of people calling in over the weekend when I was listening to these tributes. And when he would go to a city and do a show, he would tell people, "Take me to the hood."
Yeah.
And he did it in Chicago. He did it everywhere else, bro. He goes to the worst parts of the city, and that's where he kicks it at. It's where he has a look around. I think he always wanted to stay in touch with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gets a feel for the place.
I think it always kept him
So on and
grounded
so
and
forth.
focused. Yeah, he was an interesting dude, man. And the culture is taking a big L by him passing. It's unfortunate. But now we need one of these younger cats to step up and take his place. So we'll see. We shall see how the culture survives.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
No, that wraps up our list for today.
White Sox are back.
Yeah. Definitely.
I hope they won today. I didn't check the final score.
I don't know what Eddie said something when he first.
I thought he said they were up 3-2.
Something like that. Right before we first went live. So.
Yeah.
I'll see right now what ESPN shows me. Baseball season. It's crazy. Like how fast the rest of the year went last year compared to like last March.
Yeah. It's good to have baseball back. I was in the stadium on Thursday for the home opener.
They lost 4-3 in 10 innings.
God damn it. Our bullpen fucking blows.
Blew it for us.
But, to see all the restrictions they had in place was kind of interesting. They were a little extra with it. But, me personally, I'd rather them be extra than super lax.
Hopefully I'll get the game soon. Thanks for tuning in. Season 3, Episode 1. Shout out to Eddie for dropping in before he had to go. Tune in next week for Episode 2 of Season 3. No Sunday dinner tonight. And no
dinner for you.
No Uncle Bobby After Dark this week either, because I'm hopefully going to be out of town. This whole episode...
Uncle Bobby After Dark from Miami.
This whole time you seen me looking down through this episode. I've been scrolling through my phone looking at plane ticket prices, and seeing exactly what I was going to do because I want to get the fuck out of here for a couple days.
Yeah, make sure you fucking take a chance.
I want to go somewhere. I was going to go to Vegas for a week, but I can't because we have a very special villain. Oh, duh. I don't know why I didn't fucking announce this. We have a villain radio show exclusive on Friday, the 16th at 7 p.m. Untouchable One from the Outfit featuring myself. The name of the song is They Watchin'. We're doing the video premiere shot by Nick Brzezinski. The video is produced by Mijo. So it's a good fucking record. Dope video. We shot it here at Villain Radio with White Devils is featured in one of the opening scene kind of. So
hey, a lot of dope ass music comes out of this studio.
Yeah.
Low key, I don't think people are really up on it, but if you check out any Villain Radio related projects right now, Hollow Gang Bug, Here's to Life, streaming everywhere.
Please stream it on Tidal if you have it.
That shit is slapping, man.
Do you have Tidal?
No, I got Spotify.
Okay, because it's mastered in hi-fi on Tidal, and it's crazy the difference and what Tidal could do electronically, without even with what you send them. Yeah. So it's crazy.
So if you got Tidal, stream it on Tidal. But if you don't have Tidal and don't want to get Tidal, stream it wherever you can. Man, I've been banging it for a week straight. It slaps, man.
It's a very, very good project.
You know, and we got all kinds of other artists. Old Mob coming through here. You know, Stove God. If y'all know Stove God Cooks. You know, we're associated with his projects, and there's more to come. So if you're a rap head, even if you're an older rap head like us, and you don't like the new stuff, this is more
up your alley.
Up your alley. Yeah, this is more what you're used to and what you like. So check it out. Hologame Bug, here's to life. And then just stay up for whatever else we got coming because we stay working.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys next week at 4 o'clock.
Yo, what happened to peace? Oh, I didn't say it. What an asshole. Peace.